What else did we learn?
I don't think, I mean, we learned that he's going to fight back, that he's going to keep talking. I mean, they showed up at his house this morning before dawn, in part because of the way that Roger Stone has conducted himself throughout this, while knowing essentially that he was under investigation. But I was talking to, Roger Stone's friends in the last couple of days, and they said they've watched what happened, that Roger Stone has watched what happened to Paul Manafort, and he does not want the same thing to happen to him. He says he looks at what happened to Paul Manafort, former Trump campaign chairman who's been convicted of a number of charges.
Also a former business partner of Roger
And a former
Stone's
business partner of Roger Stone's, and says Manafort's reputation has been smashed to smithereens, and so I'm going to go out there every day and I'm going to fight. I'm going to go on TV, I'm going to go on InfoWars, I'm going to write for the Daily Caller, and I think this tells you that he's going to continue that same approach now that they've officially brought these charges against him.
It also gives you...
He made a point of, he said that the FBI agents, the way they came, he said if they just called me, I would have come in. I want to, are there guidelines?
Yes.
Are there reasons that the FBI, that's what I'm going to get to, that they had some reason to believe, they're talking about like they did when they got the special warrant for Michael Cohen, who's an attorney for the president. They're worried about destruction of evidence, right?
So when you look at Michael Cohen, when you look at Paul Manafort, they essentially were in more cooperative modes with the FBI and the investigators, so they were allowed to surrender. Roger Stone, if you look at all of the rhetoric, all of the things that he has said publicly about the FBI, about Mueller, parts of this investigation, there was probably enough concern there for the FBI that if they gave him a heads up that he was going to be arrested and that they would like him to surrender. In these kinds of cases, normally you would see that. But there was something different here, and I'm sure there was concern on the part of the FBI about giving him a heads up that they were planning to do this. They wanted to do search warrants at his home, so they wanted to get evidence. They could have been afraid that he was going to destroy evidence if they gave him a heads up that they were coming. But the other thing is, maybe they thought he could potentially flee. You do these things for the element of surprise, and there was a reason for it. And it also, look, I have seen raids far worse than this, where the FBI goes in real, gang guys, and they're throwing smoke grenades in there and trying to really distract people. You don't see that here. They knocked on the door. They told them they were there. Come out. It was very orderly. And the idea that they did anything different that they would normally do. The only thing different is that they did not allow him to surrender, and there is a reason for that. He just has not been cooperative.
They can't get this warrant to do it the way they did it without presenting probable cause to a judge, correct?
Right, and the nature of these charges is going to take away their respect for any possibility to give him some deference, because the nature of the charges is he's lying repeatedly, he's trying to influence a witness as well, and that's another reason not to give him a chance to turn himself in. About him fighting back, to Sarah's point, if this is the same judge as was on Manafort, which is Judge Jackson, he's going to have to be silent. She's going to most likely tell him, quit talking. He's not going to be able to continue his public fight. It's going to be a gag order.
But I think we also learned from there why Trump and Stone have been so close for so long. They both like a show. And that was essentially a show there. That was a spectacle. They like the publicity. They like being out there. I wouldn't be surprised if the president is in the White House right now watching this and enjoying what he's seeing on television.
I also want to make a point, like, some people are thinking, well, is this a way to get him to cooperate? Is Mueller doing this? I think it's very clear he has no intention on cooperating, and I think Mueller realizes that this is the charges for now, whether or not there's going to be more information. But I think people need to accept the idea that Roger Stone, highly unlikely, will never cooperate with the special counsel, and we don't even know that they want him to cooperate.
And so let's jump into the substance of what is alleged in the indictment, that Roger Stone and some associates were in touch. It doesn't say Roger Stone was directly in touch with Julian Assange. Right. It raises that possibility, but it doesn't say he was. But says he had at least two associates who had some context with WikiLeaks. Help me with the law. So let's assume Roger Stone, through friends, got a heads up. Julian Assange had these damaging Democratic emails. Right. Let's find out. I'm a friend of the president's. Let me find out. Let's assume, again, for the sake of argument, they treat Julian Assange as a journalist, or not as a Russian operative. What's the crime?
That in and of itself wouldn't be a crime. I think the problem here is the context, that at that point it's obvious the Russians are involved. And the biggest problem really isn't even what Roger Stone's doing as a private citizen, no matter how slimy he may be. The problem is the Trump campaign is affirmatively trying to get that information. They know the context, they know the Russians may be involved, they want to reach out and try and do that. The fact that they may have failed to do it doesn't matter. It shows what their intent is.
Doesn't matter. And we mentioned the show down there in Florida. CNN's Nick Valencia is there as part of this and had a chance to ask a question or two to Roger Stone. Nick, take us inside that remarkable scene, and what did Roger Stone say?
Hey there. I'm sorry, John. It's really loud here. But yes, I just have a chance to speak with Roger Stone as he left court. I asked him if he had a comment for CNN, and he jokingly said it was good to see us at his house this morning. We were the only news outlet there when the FBI knocked on his door this morning to take him into custody. I asked him if there was any coordination between the Trump campaign, himself, and WikiLeaks. He said no, those are false accusations. I asked him what he thought about the counts, the charges that he's facing. He says they're absolutely false. He did say, interestingly enough, John, that later tonight he's expected to be on television. He said, watch the media outlets tonight. I will be on TV. He seemed to be in very, very good spirits. We all saw, as he exited the courtroom, flashing a victory sign, smiling. He exited to loud chants of lock him up as well. But as he left the court alongside one of his co-counsels, he seemed very good spirits. I had a chance to speak to him one-on-one. I have that video that I recorded on my cell phone. We're working on getting that into our, to our newsroom right now so we could show our viewers. But he was in very good spirits, John.
Appreciate the live reporting from right there in the middle of what is, without a doubt, a show. It's an important day, but it's also a bit of a show. Nick Valencia, come back to us when we have that video. We know Roger Stone has tried to raise money during this, too, because he has legal. You've been following. I want to get to this point, too. There's some people out there saying, aha, Robert Mueller somehow tipped us off. Not true. Not true. CNN cameras are out there because of some fantastic reporting, including by the people sitting here at the table with me, who had reason to believe, based on other clues, that things could come. Now, when you see Roger Stone in this show, I'm going to go on television. You just noticed once he sees a federal judge here in Washington, he may get told not to do that. Why is that so important to him?
One, he wants to send a message to President Trump that, he's not going to get squeezed. He says he's not going to testify against President Trump. The other thing is he wants to try to salvage his own reputation. I mean, one of the things he said, and he said it to me before, is it's better to be infamous than never to be famous at all. He wants to have his own opportunity to respond to anything anyone is saying about him. And I was talking to some of his friends this morning, and they said, as difficult as this day is, it is Roger Stone Day. He got hauled away in handcuffs. It's in some ways a kind of perverse relief. We kept wondering if this Friday was going to be the Friday, if this was going to be the day that Roger Stone was arrested. And they said, we've run drills on this. We had our plans in place. We knew what to do if this day came, and now it's a matter of executing that. And so I think you're going to see that in terms of him trying to raise money for his legal defense fund. You're going to see that if they put a gag on Roger. You will see his allies on TV going out there to defend him in a way we really didn't see in the case surrounding Paul Manafort. We will see how this holds up, again, once he's in front of a judge in D.C., if they slap a gag order on this case. But they've been preparing for this day.
Can somebody help me with the warped? I'm the son of a prison guard who's raised to think being in handcuffs is not a good thing. But this is somehow, at this point, Roger Stone, what does he want his reputation to be? I'm a 40-year, 50-year dirty trickster, but not a criminal dirty trickster?
I think he wants to make it clear. His view is he didn't commit any crimes. So now that they know what crimes he's up against, what crimes they're saying he committed, they feel like they can fight back more effectively. Instead of fighting back against any allegation that's coming out in newspapers, on television, on radio shows, they now have it written there before them in the court documents. Here's what we have to face. Here's what we have to fight. And Roger Stone wants to be the guy who was out there, who helped Donald Trump get elected, helped Donald Trump become president, encouraged him to win, and became famous.
And the question is this a placeholder, or is this the last word when it comes to Roger Stone? And that's what we don't know.
Exactly right. We don't know. You would think, who are these other campaign officials that this indictment is talking about? Do their names ever get revealed? What happens down the line? Is there going to be a larger, bigger conspiracy connection that's about to come? And honestly, we just don't know. But we also know that there are other people that are attached to Roger Stone that have been before the grand jury or that Mueller wanted to charge. That's still very much active. We don't know where that stands.
But his public line has been that he's, a BSer, if you will. I won't say the words. That, sure, he might have created the impression that he had this back channel to Assange, but he just wanted everybody to think he was a bigger player than he was. And you could just Google search this, he has said, and all that information out there. This document suggests that's not the case.
That's not the case, but why did he lie about it? That's the key thing. In all of these cases, every time these guys have been confronted by information, they have lied. And who are they protecting, and what are they protecting? And it becomes, this is why I think it is in some ways a political story. They wanted to protect the president. They wanted to protect the campaign. And that's what ultimately, and the White House, going into even after Trump was elected, they all wanted to protect him. And I think that's the theory, when you look at all this, that Mueller is taking.
The bigger picture, connecting all of these other dots that we gleaned from documents. We're going to take a quick break, a very busy breaking news day.